Hello and welcome to American Mogul. Today we will be discussing converting student debt into mortgage debt. This is part 2. This topic is very complex because people don't understand how it can happen. They wonder, how is it possible we can convert student debt to mortgage debt? And you have to understand what debt is. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Good debt is when you borrow against physical appreciating assets, like a home. Bad debt is when you borrow to fund intangible assets, right? Intangible assets have no physical being. Knowledge has no physical manifestation. You borrow to get an education. That education is personalized. See, a home, any type of stocks, whatever, has a physical attribute to it. Where intangible, you have, for example, 100 kids in a class who are learning in university or college. There's going to be 100 different understanding of what is being taught. So there's a variance, yeah? That variance doesn't manifest in the physical world. It used to be. If you got a college education, you were guaranteed a decent job. But that's not the case anymore. Now, education is transient, yeah? All it really is a certificate telling your employer that you can learn, that you are capable of cognizant thought and of learning. Now with modern technology, you can learn anything you want for free on internet. So it has reduced the value. It's like buying a car, yeah? That's bad debt. You buy a car, it depreciates, the asset depreciates in value. Your knowledge depreciates in value. Technology advances at such a rate that by the time you start a subject, 4 years later end the subject, the technology has changed, rendering you obsolete. So what do you do with a $1.8 trillion student debt? How do you make it tangible from an intangible base? You have to convert that energy, that energy that was absorbed, and find an outflow for it. If we look at student debt, people take loans, yeah. Those loans are put on asset sheets of our institutions. Yeah. Those assets are then leveraged, derivatives, yeah, and sold or accumulated. They are tangible assets because now the intangible knowledge has a manifestation of tangibility because it is now in currency. So that tangibility is bought and sold by financial institutions and leveraged upon. So if you eliminate, just say, write a blank check, 1.8 trillion or so, what do you get for that? Well, in an intangible asset, you get nothing. And you destroy a financial system because now that leverage has to be unwound. Yeah. How do you do it? How do you think of a way to fix this problem? I think if you take the 1.8 trillion in debt, and then you have 1.8 trillion in capital, yeah, whether it's printed or whether it's just capital, and pay that debt off, you are destroying energy. However, if we take that energy of the freshly printed $1.8 trillion and the government, politicians, the central banks, yeah, bankers, say we are going to reinvest this money in the future of our nation. The future of our nation are the children. Yeah. The young people of today. What is the biggest concern? House formation, home formation, family formation. Most, if not close to all, of the youth of today is under the thumb of student debt. So, to convert student debt to mortgage debt, what do you have to do? Well, you have to have a house. By the standard definition of a mortgage, it is a debt placed upon property. What do we have that we could use to make this transition? Well, we have government land, sovereign land, crown land, all the same thing. All it means is of the nation, there is land, yeah, that is owned by the citizens of the nation. Very good. To build a home, you need land. Yeah. Even a condo needs land for the condo to stand upon. If we are going to build enough homes, how many homes could we build? By managing this project properly, $1.8 trillion could build about 30 to 40 million homes. Well, you just can't put 30 to 40 million homes in the Mojave Desert, yeah? You have to think about what you're going to do. Well, we have to build cities, yeah? I believe with 1.8 trillion, in 50 states, we could build a city in each of the states. So 50 cities. And a partnership with commerce and the public could work. Think about what is a city. How do you plan it? How do you make it? We're going to walk through that right now. Right? In city planning, what people don't understand is the first thing you need is a sewage system, yeah? A water network. You have to, plan for where is the water coming in and where is the pee-pee and caca going out. Yeah, that's basically it. Water treatment plants, those things, right? So you have to start to consider the infrastructure. If this is a city we are building, right, of 500,000 people, right, we are going to build 50 cities of 500,000 population and plan for future expansion. But for now, we're going to leave it at 500,000. Well, a city of 500,000 gonna need a city hall, post office, fire station, police station, hospitals, walking clinics. It's going to need commercial space, industrial space, that you can, the commercial internal, but industrial external outside of the city. Yeah. So you're going to need a transportation network. You're going to have to build roads, and in some cases bridges. You're going to need stoplights, stop signs, sidewalks. You're going to need commerce, restaurants. And I say 500,000, you can plan that there will be a Amazon distribution center, a couple of Walmarts, one's Lowe's. Yeah, it's like wherever you go, it's like 2 Home Depot for every 1 Lowe's. You're going to need a few Starbucks. You're going to need a few Dunkin' Donuts. You're going to need dentists. You're going to need senior citizen residential center. You're going to need parks. You're going to need schools. You're going to need, that's elementary, middle school, high school, and colleges. Or in this case, because technology, you might not need that, but I still believe up until the end of high school, you're going to need for the social, emotional, and mental development of children to become fully functioning, normal as we can figure out to be normal, adults. Yeah. We're going to need auto parks for the sale of automobiles, whether they're EV or ICE, whatever they are, there's going to be a section for that. And in a city of 500,000 couple, the industrial section, they're going to need, like everywhere else, you're going to need managers, you're going to need foremen, you're going to need supervisors, and you're going to need laborers, workers. A city of 500,000 will generate self-sustaining 200,000 jobs. Yeah. Because for all this to happen, you have to build infrastructure that can sustain. We are not going to build a ghost city. We're going to build a bright and thriving city, communities, for where people can form family formation, they can form families, raise their children, and generations can live, and the ability to expand. All that is going to require workers. A doctor is a worker. A lawyer is a worker. An engineer is a worker. A person who works at Starbucks is a worker. The waitress at the local restaurant is a worker. We are all workers. But where are the jobs? We have to create them. So let's say we embark on this radical idea of converting student debt into mortgages, and in a sense creating affordable housing. By working together, we create environments, utopian environments, where the potential, human potential of advancing civilization can occur. Maybe there are a few, but not too many people can advance civilization from their parents' basement. And we are forcing that choice upon our children. We are not investing for a future. We are investing for servitude. So think about this. 1.8 trillion in student debt. We take that money that we were going to use to pay off that student debt. So it's right here. This is the money. And over here is student debt. If we take that money and place it into student debt, it all disappears. Now it's gone. The debt is gone. Trillions upon trillions have to be unwound, causing major financial. I don't want to get into that aspect of it. It gets much more complicated than it needs to be. However, my point of view is, here is the debt. Here's the 1.8 trillion. Right? And we say, no, we are going to build cities. Right? Affordable housing, places of commerce, places of employment, future wealth. And then we say, okay, here it is. Yeah. We took that money, we built this city. Now the city empty, waiting for it to be filled, for that potential to be realized. So we have now built 50 cities in 50 states with that can house 500,000 people. That's 25 million people. Each one of those cities going to create 200,000 jobs. That's 10 million jobs. You are giving now a chance for the future to succeed. So let's get back to it now. So we have these empty cities. We've invested 1.8 trillion. We've created millions of construction jobs. Now we say to these people who owe student debt, over here we have a home. 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. That's the kind of style home we need to build to create affordable housing. You can pay that student debt. However, if you want, you can take that student debt and we will convert it to a home. in a city that is being developed, you could pay the student debt, which we all know is not going to happen. Or we can convert that student debt to home ownership and a mortgage, right? Same as if you're going to take the money and pay off the debt, right? Instead, we're going to use that energy to take that student debt and convert it to a mortgage on an affordable home. It is equal. Only thing is now the student is a homeowner and paying a mortgage instead of student debt. His same number of the debt, plus or minus a little bit, and now they have the ability to form families, to create assets, instead of just the liability that disappears and they're left with nothing. This is the hardest concept for somebody to get over. How to convert student debt into mortgage debt. But it all has to do with the energy of that $1.8 trillion. If you take the energy, potential energy, what could you do with $1.8 trillion? You have a choice. Pay off student debt and you're out of money. Are those people in any particular better scenario than they would have been? Not really. Okay, they don't owe student debt, but they have nothing. They have no prospects. They have no assets. So what I'm saying is think different. Instead of taking $1.8 trillion and making it go up in smoke, you take that $1.8 trillion and you invest in real, tangible assets. Then you convert the student loan debt, which is intangible, into a tangible asset. Now what you've done is create affordable housing. You've helped in household and family formation. You have created cities that are self-sustaining. There is so much involved in a city and so much potential in a city that currently right now sits as vacant land. Sovereign land, crown land, government land, whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. Sitting idle, empty, waiting for someone to unlock that potential. And we have a chance. You just have to think different. You have to think different. You have to get over that misunderstanding or incapable of understanding how you convert student debt to mortgage debt. It's all about unleashing the potential of our youth, of our country, our future generation. I've always said, if you leave the government in charge of the desert, pretty soon there'll be a shortage of sand. Yeah. Because they don't understand. They can't cross that bridge. Some of you are not crossing the bridge of understanding intangible and tangible. Because when even assets that depreciate, a car, Yeah, you buy a car and you take a car loan. Every day you look and there's the car. You can see it. It's a tangible thing. A mortgage. You buy a house, right? Every day you wake up from your bed, you see the ceiling, the walls, you go down to the kitchen, you make breakfast, you walk out to go to work. It's a tangible thing. But the illusion, knowledge is intangible. There is no way that you can put it into words. Or if in the process of doing what you've learned, you need to have a job to turn that intangible to tangible. Well, where are you going to get a job? Jobs have to be created. So, what I'm saying is, open your mind. Intangible assets are worthless unless they are converted into tangible assets. All the knowledge in the world is not going to help you if you cannot turn it into tangible assets. That's why I had to make part 2, because so many people don't understand it. They say, how is it possible? I don't understand what you're talking about. So we are going to try this several times because some of you are not going to get it. However, if you can't broaden the scope of the way you look at things, you can find solutions where none seem possible. Humans are fantastic at doing that. We find solutions where none seem possible. So when you think about this subject, the obvious conclusion that you will come to in time is that the formation and creation of tangible assets is the only way to juxtapose the intangible. I hope this has helped. This is a very complex subject because you have to change the way you are thinking about things. But I will tell you right now, if you ask any person, who has student debt, would they prefer to owe money on their student debt or convert it into a mortgage on a house and have a place to live, a place to start a family, to begin to store wealth, create assets? I would believe you would be hard pressed to find somebody say no. So what I'm telling you is, for our future generations, open your mind. Open your mind. The future doesn't need our help 15, 20, 30 years from now. It needs it today. It needs you to understand today. They are asking for our help. Okay. God bless you and keep you safe. Bye-bye.